Hi everyone, it's Asia Marquet here, Lemon Creation, and today I have the art journal page which I made with my own first time ever homemade watercolors. So here is my magic box of watercolors, right now already full of happiness. I bought it on Amazon. I'm gonna give you a link in the description box below. I have no idea why is this kind of hanger for. If you know, please let me know in the comments. But it's a tiny box which was not at all expensive, which I bought as I mentioned on Amazon. And inside there were pans completely empty, ready to for your own watercolors. And so I had this idea because when I was on holidays visiting my mom in Poland, I went to the bookshop, and there in the craft part of the bookshop I found crafty things, but amongst them there were watercolors from Winsor and Newton, and I always wanted to have them in the tube, so I decided to buy 3 primary colors. And I said to myself, oh, I'm gonna create some watercolors. I will try. I've never done it, but I heard so many artists did it. So I said, why not trying? And here there are. So Winsor and Newton Cadmium watercolors. I'm gonna give you also in the list the exact name in the description box below, the exact name of the paints. And at home I had old Stamperia watercolors, white and black. I use also to mix the other paints. And here we go. That's how it came from the Amazon. Here are the small pans I used, which were empty, and the black rounds, they are actually magnets, which you can glue at the bottom of the pans, and like that you can put them in the metal boxes and they will not move. So this is super cool. I really like this idea, and I think I managed to squeeze 20 of them in the box I got. And then I also had a box, metal box at home, which was completely for a different purpose, the red one here. And I put there the doubles one because I made some of the paints which were similar to each other, and so the doubles I put in the red box. So I think one day I'm gonna try to mix them even further with other colors to create some new colors. But I'm really happy with my watercolor box, especially that I found that for once I have very toned colors, almost earthy ones, a lot of earthy colors, and I really love that. The pans are not full. I don't mind. They are watercolors. You don't need to use that much of them. And as you can see, I made my big swatch list, and basing on the base of this swatch list, I decided which colors are kind of similar to each other, which one I'm gonna put in the red box, which one I'm gonna put in the original box. And I also put the numbers because I was not, motivated enough to find the names for them. So I put the numbers like that, and I draw them also with the permanent marker on the pans. So like that I know always, which color correspond to which swatch. And I'm using right now actually the double ones from the red box. But I wanted to show you that even though they were dry, it's enough to put a little bit of water on the brush, and like that they are reactivating with the water because they are watercolors. And they are just, making their job or doing their job. The paper I'm using is not a very good watercolor paper. It's actually the cheapest watercolor paper I ever had, I think, in my stash. So the effect is not amazing. After drying, the effect was actually quite nice because the paints ran into each other. I'm sorry, tongue twister here. But yes, I'm just showing you here quickly that they do work, and I'm so happy with them. And as you may know already, I have few watercolors. The one I really love is the Gansai Tambi watercolor set, which has very nice watercolors, but maybe not that many earth tones. And then there is also Dr. PH Martins, which has I have 3 colors which are very strong, very bright, completely like not earth tones. So this set is actually super cool because I have the idea in my head to actually start using more the earthy comb tones instead of using turquoise or purple or you know, greens or blues things like that. I think I'm gonna let you quietly now to see quickly. I'm gonna speed up the process a little bit. The swatches I've done them on just on better watercolor paper, but on the piece of watercolor paper I cut so it can fit perfectly to the new box. And like that I have them all according to the positions they are in the box. So I did a really great job. I'm so proud of myself. And I'm so happy with the colors. And by the way, there is a short on my YouTube channel just before I posted the day before posting this video, where, but in a very short space of time, I'm showing you a little bit more about the mixing of the colors and the box itself. So guys, let's go to the actual art journal page. For this art journal page I'm using Canson watercolor paper. This one is a little bit better, well, a little bit more better than the one I made my swatches, the big swatches on. And I like to work on it very much. I don't think it's the best watercolor paper ever, but you know, for my purposes it's quite okay. You need to take out the pages from the notebook, of course, and then I cut them usually in half because I use them for later to assemble them in the art journal. So out of the loose pages I'm creating always art journal at the end. So you see I watered the page a little bit with my Escoda watercolor brush. That's one of the best brushes I have, and I really don't follow any watercolor technique, to be honest. I'm going with what I feel like. So I'm not sure this brush is maybe the best to the job, but I like the end page, so I think I was okay using it. But I imagine maybe with a smaller brush you can maybe make or get better results. Either way, if you do not, if you use only the tip of the brush, you can use it. You can make a little bit of kind of lines, smaller lines, and so that's what I was doing. I kind of, you know, add the color, and then I, in some places, I add a little bit more pigmented color, making a little bit of lines and twisting the brush. Really, guys, no technique at all. Just, you know, going with the flow, trying not to cover all the page, because you know me and my negative space, there has to be almost always negative space on my journal pages. And also I found really handy to have a tissue or a piece of here I have actually a normal paper tissue, but you can have a you know, like some cloth to dry the brush if it's too soaked with water. And so I went for those two colors, kind of like, I don't know, army green, I'd say, and the other kind of like a dark blue. No, this one is not even dark blue. The ones I'm using is it's also green color. From my perspective here, when I'm doing voiceover, it looks like a blue one. I already forgot what I've done yesterday. So yes, this way you can see it a little bit better, because of course I was a little bit off the camera there, but yes, I was trying to kind of find the places where there was the most of the pigment and the less of the pigment, to make kind of like a almost cloudy shapes. Really, I was going with the feeling. There is no technique at all in what I'm doing. I'm just going completely, I don't know too much about watercolors, and I'm just going completely, yes, by feeling. I just think, oh, maybe I should go a little bit here, maybe a little bit there. Very often I'm not totally happy with what's happening. Sometimes I am really surprised with the effects. This one I like. I think it's so cool. I think maybe those two colors didn't really go so much together, but still, you know, it's a detail. Really. So you've seen me drying it with the heat gun. I noticed you get different effects if you dry with the heat gun, if you leave it air dry. It all depends on the time I have on hands. So if I have some time, I can leave it and let it dry, air dry. Otherwise, I use a heat gun. With a heat gun, you can also push the water a little bit towards the places you want the water to go or the paint to go. So, you know, you can do your magic also like that. I add a little bit of brownish color here to kind of make the stains a little bit wider, so they can take up more place on the paper. But as always, the tissue comes in handy when I feel like there is too much color. I can just dab it, or too much water, I can dab it off. And so basically that's what I'm doing, nothing really fancy, just adding the paints. So here it is, the dried page. It looks a little bit, I don't know, mystical. I have no idea if that's a good word. I'm gonna be using my newest stamp, which is called Spinal. I think I've done only like one project with this stamp and I absolutely love it. And for the stamping, I'm gonna be using VersaFine Onyx Black ink, which is very rich in color, in black, and it's stamping very well. But I didn't want to put a very like, you know, rich black on the page, which is very kind of you know, oh, I don't know, the colors are not very rich and the colors are very muted. So that's why I'm gonna be using a piece of scrap paper on the side to make the first impression. And as you can see, really my stabs are completely new. I haven't used even this one ever. It's the very first impression. They are so clean still. Well, I don't give them too much time to be that clean because, you know, I always leave my permanent inks on the stamps. So this is always a must because I think they are stamping much better. Also, I can see the stamp much better also like that through the acrylic block. And I'm gonna be using the second impression. But the thing is, the stamps are quite long and I didn't want to use the whole stamp. So I decided to actually take it off the acrylic block and print it with my hands. So like that, I press to the paper only the part I really want. But when you do that, sometimes the impression is not very good. And that's what's happened a little bit here. Once again, I'm a grungy type of artist, so, you know, I don't mind that much. The impression is still there and it's muted like the colors, so it's not that bad. So I'm quite happy with that. I'm wondering, what do you think? Me, with the hindsight, I think I should have stopped there. I shouldn't have used this stamp, which I'm using right now, with ink, which is a little bit stronger. But at the same time, I don't know. I really don't know. I am kind of in between. I don't know if I should have stopped, you know, with the first impression, with the first stamp, or if I should continue. You're gonna see at the end, you can leave me a comment in the comment section, so I'll know what would you've done if you were at my place. So now comes the time to choose a focal point. Those are my newest focal points. There is also a short in my short section on my channel, or on Instagram also, where you can see how where do I get my focal points from, how I prepare them, because you keep on asking me the same questions where I do get them from, and I'm trying really in every so often I'm repeating the same because I use them from the same web page in general. I do them the same way in general, So yes, I decided to make you again a little bit of a tiny bit short where I'm showing you all what I do with my shorts, and not with my shorts, with my focal points. And so I was, you know, I took few and I was trying to fit them to the page, and I decided to go with this very, very happy birthday fellow. And I knew that I have 3 more of those, and so I decided that I'm gonna check which one will fit the page the best. Those 2 are way too big, and so this way I don't like it. And so I decided that it's gonna be a choice between those 2. What's your opinion? I decided to go with this one finally. Not with this one, with this one. I'm wondering, what do you think? Which one was the best one? And so I just glue it to the page with the tacky glue, and then I add the sentence to finish it off. But no, before I did that, I actually use a little bit of golden flakes. This is something I haven't used for a long time. But this very, very happy fellow, he has actually a candle in his hand, and you probably don't see it because it's quite a thin candle, and then again the colors are quite similar, so it's not very much visible. First I add a little bit of glossy accents. I also forgot about this part. So I add a tiny bit of dots in his black part of his eyes, and also on the top of his hat, to make him a little bit more festive, because it's actually a birthday boy. It looks like that anyway, maybe it's not. And then I decided to add a tiny bit of glue in the candle, and then add a little bit of golden flakes. They are actually not really gold, they are kind of like a rose gold, or maybe even orange gold. So I think just normal gold would not match very much the page. So I decided to go with this color, and I just place it on top of this candle in the place of the flame. And I added also a little bit of magic glue from RicoDesign, which I splatter all over the page. I'm drying it a little bit because that's the idea with the glue. You have to dry it a tiny bit, so later you can put the flakes on. It cannot be dry completely, but just a tiny bit, and then you can place your flakes on it. And the last piece of the puzzle, or the art journal page in this case, is to add a little bit of sentence. And as always, I'm trying to, you know, match the sentence to the whole page. And I like this very much. The one I came up with, it comes from my book of really silly words. So if you haven't seen my shop, I would be really happy if you have a look. I have stamps and stencils and words and some other small stuff there, and I'm gonna give you a link in the description box below and in the pinned comment, and I'd appreciate if you have a look. So this is the page, which is finished. I add a little bit of dark color on the last stamp, which didn't print very well, and here we go. Shh, no one cares. I hope guys you enjoyed this tutorial. Very, very easy page. I'm sending you big hugs as always, and I hope I'm gonna see you in my next video, and please subscribe as always. Bye bye!